Are we ready for more electric vehicles to be out on the roadways? I want to hear from you. 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here live and local with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. You can also email bishoponair@gmail.com or find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search Bishop on Air and we can connect that way. But the best way to do it, call in live, 217-629-7970. Are we ready for electric vehicles? More and more electric vehicles. Some of you are driving into work right now in an electric vehicle. You haven't had any problems with it. But the reason we bring this up today is because of all of the headlines that have been coming out of California in the past couple of weeks, let alone the past year or so, especially when it comes to energy reliability, when it comes to wildfires that are happening, when it comes to the state's energy grid urging people in certain areas to not use major appliances and to not plug in their electric vehicles. Need I remind you, we've got headlines about forest fires, wildfires that are happening in California. How are you supposed to evacuate when your electric vehicle is not charged because you heeded advice to not charge it to relax any kind of stress there may be on the energy grid? And then you got a fire coming and you're supposed to evacuate. So there's some interesting things here. And I would love to hear your thoughts. Are we ready for more electric vehicles on our roadways, given this series of stories? Again, 217-629-7970. It is post-Labor Day. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful Labor Day weekend. We sure did. Checked out the Portuguese Rodeo Clown Company on Friday. Johnny Molson and the entire troupe with the Portuguese Rodeo Clown Company and improv comedy. Thumbs up. That was great to watch Friday. And then Saturday we hit up the Springfield Oyster and Beer Festival. So thumbs up on that. Huge success. They're going to be giving thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to the Ronald McDonald House here in Springfield. But let's hear from you this morning after a long Labor Day weekend about electric vehicles, because the headlines are pretty fascinating, including just the headline coming out of California, the highest demand ever. California could break record for energy demand this week. So the story goes that as California moves into the most extreme part of the ongoing heat wave, grid operators warned Monday that the state could see record-breaking energy demands today. Grid operators anticipating the state could break the previous energy demand high set in 2006 Tuesday. Current forecasts indicate the demand could spike, and Wednesday's forecasts expected to reach even higher numbers or a little bit lower, but you got the system there warning of grid reliability issues. Again, this while you've got stories of wildfires that are causing all kinds of problems, and including this tweet kind of just showing the ominous fire that is contained to a degree. It's got about 5% contained, but when you've got energy reliability issues and the utilities saying don't charge your electric car, but then you have a fire coming, how are you supposed to evacuate? So are we ready for electric vehicles? And we're seeing more and more incentives to bring about electric vehicles. Even in the state of Illinois, some rebates going out, $4,000 for electric vehicles, $1,500 taxpayer-funded rebates going out to people who purchase electric motorcycles. So are we ready for this? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
No, we're not ready for it, and I'm not so sure we should be ready for it. I think it's probably the most unplanned, overhyped, woke capitalism, give me a subsidy business I've ever seen. The same people that are against power plants are in favor of electric vehicles. How can that be? And, one other thing that people don't think about, but if you put a lot of these electric vehicles on the road, and they probably will get on the road, these vehicles weigh on an average 700 to 900 pounds more than a similar internal combustion vehicle. The batteries are heavy. For the roads, it would be like everybody driving an F-250. And so we're going to destroy the roads with these things. and motor fuel taxes will have to go way up for no apparent benefit other than the electrical vehicles. And hey, I don't have any problem.
I don't even know if they would increase the motor fuel tax, because they wouldn't be able to get that much if there's an increased number of electric vehicles. But one thing they could do is start implementing a tax per mile, which would have to track you everywhere you go and charge you per mile with some kind of tracking device. I think that's my biggest concern outside of the energy reliability issues, is just how much technology is going to be involved in these things, and how tracked are you going to be, and can they just simply turn your vehicle off and say
very tracked is the answer, and I'm not so sure that isn't part of the plan also. And in the end, we've got government now that are canceling statues, canceling colleges, canceling professors, all this. You really want these people, they're talking about basically nationalized electricity here. Do you really want these people controlling the power grid, where 3 years from now, if Joe Biden doesn't like you, he'll turn your electricity off and your car?
Well, he'll just call you a MAGA Republican and try to get the rest of the nation to see it his way. Who knows? But these are the concerns that we're hearing. It's not just the energy reliability issues; it's the control issue as well. 217-629-7970. Your thoughts? Are we ready for electric vehicles? Good morning.
Morning, buddy. Hey, Personally, I think that America is ready for electric vehicles, but what we're not ready for is a complete switch. And obviously, California totally proves that with the banning of internal combustion. So I think,
and that's going to be by 2035. So just so people understand, the timeline in the past 2 weeks when it comes to California has been interesting. Lawmakers in California passed a ban on gas-powered vehicles for 2035. Then the following week, they're telling people don't plug in your electric vehicles because of the energy grid reliability issues, because of the heat wave. Now they're also talking about a wildfire that's breaking out. So just the progression of that, right? How are you supposed to evacuate if you can't plug in your electric vehicle?
You're absolutely not wrong at all. So personally, I think what they need to do, worry about the electricity first, then come up with a plan and realize, okay, now we have enough energy to supply all the people for cars and houses and everything else, or clean energy. Elon Musk has always been talking about solar. If he could have what is like 1,000 square feet per. I mean,
if you set it up in a certain area of the desert, you could possibly provide a bunch of energy for a bunch of places. But listen, even there, this story out of CNBC, kind of fascinating. It says. Amazon took all U.S. solar rooftops offline last year after flurry of fires, electrical explosions between April of 2020 and June 21. Solar panels atop Amazon fulfillment centers caught fire and experienced electrical explosions at least 6 different times. So even there, you got to think about the fire threat. Do you want to put that on top of your roof?
And then if you're driving an electric car, like your last caller was saying, it's, a good 1,000 pounds heavier. Yeah. And to be honest, it's just a ticking time bomb. I mean, at least if your car explodes now, it's a gas issue. It's not, there was just one little circuit cross or someone accidentally soldered something off.
No, you've got a whole host of issues with a huge battery that is how are you going to get rid of that battery? Where does it go to when it comes to recycling? Is it even possible to recycle? What's the cost to replace that? There's a whole bunch of issues. And again, the question, are we ready for more electric vehicles? Just given the headlines we've seen in the past 48, 72 hours. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Yeah. Hi, Greggy. Yeah, good. Electric vehicles are the most expensive golf carts in the world. Toshiro Mifune, I believe the guy he's the CEO of Toyota in Japan. He says that given the present technology, that we will, if we are to achieve 25% electrical vehicle capacity by 2035, we need to increase our electrical output by a factor of 10 times more electricity. And The second point is that I ride an electric bike. I don't have an electric car, but I do have an electric bike. And I've ridden over 18,000 miles on 3 different bikes. And they all advertise 60 miles distance. I could range with it. The most I could ever get was 36. Yeah. And I tested that numerous times.
Well, the wife and I are getting ready to go to Mount Zion or Zion National Park and also Bryce National Canyon Park or whatever it's called. But we've got electric bikes secured for both of those, and it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. That's going to be so fun. And you've got all kinds of electric vehicles that are available on the waterways and so on. It's fun. It's cool. It's niche. But is it something that we should be forced into? Or is it something that we should have naturally come about through the free market?
Okay, the last thing is that when the temperature falls below 32 degrees, my electric battery drops its capacity of 36 miles, drops in half. I'm lucky to get 18 or 20. Wow. How are they going to run these things in Alaska or Minnesota or Michigan or anything
Great question.
else?
It's a great question. Yeah, I don't know. It's a great question. Something the question I have for everybody out there is, are we ready for electric vehicles? Funny story I wanted to share with you. Randy Smith, he is a state senator out of West Virginia. He shared on Facebook some interesting photos of what looks like an electric vehicle being pushed by coal miners. He says, some days are just better than others. Today at our mine off Corridor H, an electric car from D.C. ran out of battery at the road entrance to the mine. Someone called for a foreman and told him a car was broke down in the middle of our haul road. He went to investigate and found out that they had indeed ran out of juice coming from D.C. to Davis for a getaway weekend. He then went back to the mine to get some guys, and they pushed the car to the guard shack so that they could plug it in to charge it. They couldn't pull it because, well, the plastic underneath didn't allow for the hookups. So here are 5 coal miners pushing a battery car to the coal mine to charge it up. If you look closely, you can see the people get to go on their way. That's just incredible. What an incredible story. Coal miners had to push an electric vehicle that ran out of juice right outside of a coal mine so they could plug it in to the coal mine's guard shack. And they couldn't even tow it because the vehicles they had out in the middle of nowhere around this coal mine, they couldn't attach it to the vehicle because the vehicle is made of plastic. Because you got to, make the vehicle really super ultra light in order to make way for those really super ultra heavy batteries. Sometimes it feels like we're living in the Onion or the Babylon Bee world.